This is the rocket-powered space capsule. All systems are go.
Good morning, this is Chandler Roberts reporting for Fearless Fame on Sunday, August 26, 2018. So recently I've been submitting these Arcane Journey vlog series to YouTube and on Facebook, and then I'm taking small clips from there and posting them on Instagram and tweeting them on Twitter, and I'm also trying to kind of revise it as I'm going, because before I wasn't posting videos like this because I was so caught up in perfecting it and having it so consistent and exactly how I want it that I wasn't posting anything, and that's obviously no good. So I decided to just start, and I'm happy with some of the content I'm getting, but like I said, it isn't perfect, and so I'm working towards that end vision that I started with. And so mostly it's kind of in the transitions and the intros and that. This type of content, where it's just the podcast, either the Rise and Grind or the Arcane Journey podcast. Those segments, which is happening right now for the Rise and Grind version, I think that these are going well, and these are going to essentially stay the same the way that I'm doing them now. But I want the intro video to kind of showcase all of the things I do with Fearless Fame, and so I put together a small list of some words that I use to describe the brand and how Fearless Fame should be ran. And so I came up with 13 words that resonate with me. Relentless, drive, loyal, hustle, inspire, passion, sleek, creative, dedication, innovative, respect, imagination, and consistent. And so I figured that with each of those words, I can kind of showcase one thing with just like a 1 to 2 second clip. So like relentless, I chose to show a fireman's takedown. It's a wrestling move, and because I believe that if you look at my wrestling career and where it's at now, with me potentially, taking over as a head coach, having those type of opportunities, I haven't stopped with wrestling. Even though I'm out of high school and I'm not, a high school wrestler, I'm still a wrestler, and it's been a relentless. It's where Always Do More came from, and so that just makes sense to me. And then some of the other stuff like passion, because I wanted to go with passion. I wanted to use art, but I have creative. That was another word. So for passion, I want to show that fire that I have within the competitiveness, and so the way I'm going to show it is by doing by dunking on the hoop that we have at Jeff's house, which is 8 feet 8 inches. I'm working up towards 10 feet. I can't quite get there yet. I'm about this short. I hit the ball on the rim every time. That's for 10 feet, but with the hoop at Jeff's house, I'm going to do some of my best dunks and kind of videotape that, and then also do some of the NBA celebrations that they do afterwards, where they just basically yell and do something, some sort of movement. And so I'm just going to take all of these and kind of mash them in, similar, I guess, in a way to the way that Marvel Studios are doing their intros now, because I saw a video yesterday of the progression that they had, where they first showed the first Iron Man movie intro, and then now the Infinity War intro, And if you look at the new ones, like Infinity War, they take a bunch of clips from the old movies, all the way up until then, and kind of show them just real quick. And if you've seen the movie, you know what's happening. If not, it's kind of out of context. Battery low. But if you look at them, they're kind of out of context, and so that's somewhat how it's gonna seem. You're gonna see, you're just gonna see me hit a takedown. You're gonna see me dunk. Then you're gonna see me drawing. Then like that, and it's just gonna take about 30 seconds, and all these clips are gonna kind of slowly come in, and then faster and faster and faster. Maybe with some eventually kind of like building energy, kind of a build, and maybe some lightning effect there, because I want to kind of showcase that we're doing a lot at Fearless Fame, and we're doing it fast, and that way, because in those clips are also my daily routine. I do all of those things every day, and I didn't want the vlog series to get that repetitive. I didn't want it to be a 20-minute video every time of me doing the same things. And so I figured I could take those and mash them into a 30-second clip for the intro, then capture the really cool moments that I'll have time and storage for. I mentioned storage because one thing that I've been running into a lot with creating all this content is it seems like I never have enough storage on my phone. But I've recently upgraded because this, if you can see, cracked it pretty good right down here, which as far as like cracking, it didn't do too much, but the LEDs, it doesn't turn on anymore. It's deactivated, but I couldn't touch anything. I hit the unlock button on the side, because even the home button was funky, and so the screen would pop up and half of it was like black and starting to like color weirdly, and I'd try to hit like the center and the top would start clicking or something, and so the phone became completely useless because I dropped it twice, and the second drop is what actually ruined it. The first drop, it just had a couple minor cracks, and I can live with that. I don't have to have my phone perfect. I can deal with it, but then when the second drop happened and it was completely useless, I had to, in order to continue creating content, because realistically, I don't need an iPhone. I can live my life without it, but if I want to create content this easily, this fast, this effective, I need a nice phone, or I need a smartphone, I should say, and I just like to keep with Apple. I think mostly because it's just what I started with, and so I just partially don't want to learn a new system, and then I just like them. I like how they operate and how they look and just everything about them. But anyway, I got this new iPhone 8 because I did have the 6, and that's the other thing, is I don't always need to upgrade to the newest and best and whatever's out. Mostly I can't because I don't have the financial ability to upgrade that far, but fortunately I had the funds to upgrade to the 8, and that doubled my phone storage. I was at 32, now I'm at 64, so creating content's even easier, and I can do more, which is great, and so really happy with where that's going, and I think that this intro clip is going to really help save me some time, and then it's also going to allow me to, as far as Fearless Fame goes, I took a moment to kind of put together everything it is that I want to achieve with Fearless Fame. I thought back to when I first started making it, and all the hopes and dreams I had then and up until now. And I've got a pretty comprehensive list. I don't believe I've forgot anything really, and some of this stuff we might not get to because there's a lot. But do a quick run through. So what I've done is kind of color code everything. I've got projects that are active, so something I'm currently doing, or is a success, because some of these things on this list are one-time achievements, and once it's done I can move on to the next thing. But some of them are started now and will continue to exist all the way until the end. Like one, for example, is the online store. I first started, with the t-shirts, and so one objective was to get to an online shop so that I didn't have to buy the shirts myself every time and resell them face to face every time, because that's horribly ineffective. Although it is great for the first portion of building a brand, because it got me to get comfortable, one, with talking to people face to face and trying to sell, because that's something that I don't really like doing. I don't like the sell, because I like people to like it because they like it, not because I told them to like it. But anyway, the online store was an objective that I had, and I didn't think I was actually going to get to it as early as we did, but I'm very grateful that we are here, and so that's going to be a constant improvement, because right now some of the things that I'd like to improve are the prices, because I can't really, I don't have full control over the price. I have certain, marks that I have to hit in order for it to be profitable and not take a loss on every order. But I figure if I can get to a point where I have my own, manufacturing plant or factory, whatever you want to call it, however it works out, so that I can set my prices. I have this, and this model came from the very first, start, where I was looking at, prices of Nike apparel, and not just Nike, but Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, all the really high up brands, and because I'm thinking, $30 to $40, whatever it is for t-shirts, is like really, really expensive in my mind, and I figured, they've got to be able to bring those prices down, and I think that it's always been greed that's running them, that's making them up those prices more and more, because they're like, well, yeah, the customer's gonna buy it regardless, and I think that's just a backwards way of thinking about it. I think that they should try to give back to the fan as much as they can. They have so much support, and it's not like they're going anywhere anytime soon, especially Nike in particular, just because of their innovation and their history. I believe in them in the long run, and so, why I think that the model that I try to get to is a 10, 15, 20 model, where the t-shirts are $10, long sleeves are $15, and hoodies are $20. I would love to get to that model with Fearless Factory, with my Fearless Factory producing the stuff for the online store. And because the Fearless Factory wouldn't just be apparel, I kind of am inspired by Rob Dyrdek with his Fantasy Factory, and so we would love to have a Fearless Factory where we have some of the same things, the foam pit and the basketball courts and the skate park, all that stuff, because those are things that I enjoy doing as well. But in the same sense, we'll also have some things that are different within the building, like the apparel manufacturing and a list of a couple other things. And so some goals like that, like the Fearless Factory, are marked as 10 plus years away, where I understand that that's not something that's going to be instant, something that's going to be soon. It's going to be something that takes a while to build up to, that I'm going to have to use profits from other smaller projects to build up to it. And then some of them I've got as lifetime to complete, that something that I might not actually see happen, but will happen because of all the work I put in throughout my life. What I have in mind in particular is to end up on the list of greatest creative minds in history. So when people think Leonardo da Vinci, Pablo Picasso, Steve Jobs, then they think Chandler Roberts. I want my name to end up on that list. I don't care about greatest athlete of all time. I don't care about greatest scientist of all time, greatest any of those other things. I want creative mind. I want on that list. And so that's going to take my lifetime's work, and so I might not ever receive that recognition while I'm alive, but it is something I can work towards, and something that could be achievable. And then some of them I have marked within 5 years. Some of them I started working at years ago, and they're coming into fruition now. And kind of back onto the online store, the amount of products that I can release are also limited, because I'm trying to do print on demand and drop shipping and all of that stuff, where if I can invest in a 3D printer and I'm actually making the product myself and distributing it, then my avenues are wide open, and it's just only limited by my imagination. And then some of the things, so I've got, lifetime, plus 10, within 5, and then my between now and 10-year range. So something that might be a little bit more than 5 years, but definitely not more than 10. I've got some of those. So one of the top ones for that list would be setting a world record. I don't know what it is. That's partially why I think it's going to take a while, because I got to figure out what it is that I can do better than anyone else in the world, and then do it. And so I think that that's achievable, though, within 10 years, and just might take 5 years to plan, and then 5 years to do, and then we're all set. That's one of those things that once I've done it, I don't need to chase that experience. I don't need to do it again and again and again. Even if the record gets broken, I will still have had that moment where I set the record, And so then I've got some things that are a little more, I guess, personal than professional. Like I want to become the head coach for the wrestling team for Boyne City, and that's something that I will integrate Fearless Fame because of it being Fearless Fame's origin. I created the logo. I created the phrase "always do more" was created within that space, and so it's kind of a full circle. And I'm just going to really enjoy all that content and storytelling that's going to be involved with that. And then also taking over the wood shop. That is something that hasn't necessarily been set in stone. It's kind of been a unspoken goal of mine, and I need to have that conversation with Bruce. Back in the fall of last year, I asked him face to face if he could teach me how to manage the wood shop, and so I was learning a lot from that, and we've gotten to this point, and now I need to basically ask him or tell him that not only do I have plans to manage, but I would like to work towards actually taking over completely and owning the wood shop. And so I hope that it's something that I'm not making up in my head, I guess, because I've seen all these signs, and within the dialogue that Bruce and I have, it's felt to me that it's fairly clear that I'm going to take over, but I do recognize that we haven't had that official conversation, and so I can't truly assume that. And so I want to remove that doubt and have that conversation this week, so that I can truly work towards it and not just have that in the back of my mind of, you don't know for sure yet. I want to remove that so that I am certain, I know what the plan is, and we can work towards it. And then everything else is kind of, I just take my passions and try to make it a living. And so, if something doesn't work, if this clothing doesn't work, I'll move on to boards, like skateboards, longboards, and if that doesn't work, we move on to, doing esports with Fearless Fame Gaming. If that doesn't work, we go on to athletics with the parkour, and if that doesn't work, we go into productions with the film. It doesn't matter. We're going to keep coming. We're going to always do more, and we're not going to stop until we succeed. And that's just how it is.
Throw here. Nice throw.
I'll take 3.